Welcome back to the Wizard Shop, and today we're going to do a shop update. There's a lot of cars in the shop that you've seen videos on, but they're still here. Let's take a look why.
Oh, look, we're starting with my car.
No, this is my car.
I don't think so.
I bought it from Tavares.
We bought it from Tavares.
So it's ours.
Oh, maybe.
Okay. We've had some small progress on this. We're not going to go over it too much because we want to do a full video for you guys. We've got some carburetor updates, we've got some interior updates, and I've been waiting for the AC compressor and some of the setup and parts for that, and a spare tire and wheel from Stance Works. This is a YouTube channel. I'd actually offered to buy them from him, and he finally just told me, "Hey, Car Wizard, I'm just going to donate them. You can just have the stuff." And I'm like, yes, score! So we can put those parts on my 308.
Mine.
No, it's mine. So when those parts come in, we'll have enough to do a video on this and get you guys situated. So we're going to do quick rundowns on each car because there's a lot of them. Let's move on to the next one. This is the Ferrari 456 that you guys have seen in the shop. We talked about doing a major service on it, and the suspension ride control valve and several other things we're doing on it. I actually paid for all the parts, and since that video it's taken all that time. I just got the parts today. Now I've gone through Scuderia, I've gone through Euro Spares, and I use AMH Exotic. That's my preferred supplier that I use. They're really, really good. It doesn't matter which supplier you use. When these parts are coming from Italy and we're dealing with COVID supply issues, you're going to wait 2 to 3 weeks. It doesn't matter how much money you pay. I even talked to the guy with AMH Exotics. He's like, "Car Wizard," he says, "I don't care if you gave me $1 million, you're still not getting these parts any faster." So you just have to wait. And we have wait, and the parts are here. Let's take a quick look, and then we'll move on to the next vehicle. There they are, guys. It's a serpentine belt. We've got Hill Engineering bearings in there, pollen filter, all the things that are included in the major service. We have the cam covers off to check the valve adjustments on these, the shims, to make sure everything's good. Most of the time there's no adjustments really needed, but you don't know until you at least check, so we are going to check. Now that the parts are here, we can soon get started on reassembling everything on this engine. So we are getting there, guys. Let's take a look at some of the parts that came off of this car. Intake manifold and plenums all in one unit. There's our injectors on the fuel rails. Lots of plastic covers and things, and elbows, throttle bodies. Here's our valve covers and the old gaskets. We have new gaskets already. So quite a lot of stuff came off of here, but soon we will all be going back on. Let's move to the next car. So this is Marco's CLK63 AMG. You just saw a video on that. We did find that the front right strut was bad and the CV shaft had a bad boot, and there was actually sand inside the joint. I told him that we are not going to just put a boot on it because of the sand that got into it. Because this is the Black Series, a lot of the parts are AMG model specific only to this vehicle. I contacted several of my suppliers and they sounded very positive about getting the parts until I mentioned 2 words, Black Series. And I got nope, 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 nope. I just kept hearing nope all the time. It doesn't matter who I went through. Finally, I said, okay, I'm just going to go through the dealer. I'm going to just bite the bullet and pay the dealer's prices. I may not have a choice. I called the dealer and I said, how much is a CV shaft? All of my other suppliers don't have it for the Black Series. And they said, yes, we can get you the CV shaft. It's very expensive, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. We cannot get you the front right strut. They said it'll be a year or more before we'll even have one. I said, well, yeah, I know. I've contacted some of my suppliers, my aftermarket suppliers, and they're telling me when I mention the word Black Series, they pretty much told me get lost, go get bent. And I called an Anaheim, California dealership. I called the Wichita dealership. I called couple other dealerships, and they all said the same story. You're not going to find the Black Series struts aftermarket. You will only find them in a dealer, and we won't have one for at least a year. I contacted one of my guys, trusted people that rebuild struts for me. They actually did the black Gallardo you guys just saw. And he said, yeah, I rebuild the Mercedes struts. I said, well, this is the black series. He goes, and there's that word again, guys. Nope. Nope. He says, I won't touch that, because if something goes wrong, if there's an issue with the strut, he says, I know there are no more. You can't go buy another one. He said, based on that, I will refuse to rebuild it. I was like, whoa. So I told Marco it's a slow leak. He could still drive the car. Once he gets the car delivered to him in Florida, he can wait that year until the part comes available and have one of his local shops replace that. We will take care of the CV shaft. I would love to fix the strut for him. I've got cash in my pocket. I would buy one today if I could get one. There are none. So, on to the next vehicle. And before we talk about Mustard, which is Hoovy from Hoovy's Garage Vehicle, one more thing. Marco fell for the same trick. He went to the online Mercedes-Benz website, and it says, yes, we do have that part. But when you call them, they say, no, we don't. So don't fall for that trap, guys. Just because you find one online, it's in stock, it's not. I guarantee it. Now, this, you can actually check Hoovy's Garage channel out. He's done some updates on things that are going on in this vehicle. It's got major rust. All the control arms are basically rusted through. They're really bad. We've got the engine issues taken care of. Junior Mint's having a heyday on this thing. He's getting to experience what I felt in the military, working on these things and tanks and all kinds of things all the time. So we are going back together with a lot of stuff on this. It's been here for a while because there is so much to do. On to the Merkur. So here's the Merkur, however you guys say it in the comments. There's lots of parts to be installed. Magic Mike's actually working on this. He's making great headway. We found some wiring issues with the AC. That's why it wasn't working. And again, that's another one of those situations where he had another shop look at it and they just went. And it ended up just being a bad wire from the relay box to the trinary switch. So we got that handled. He wants a new condenser and things installed regardless, and we're doing that for him. There's a whole slew of things we're doing to this car. The customer is totally cool with the idea that as we get time to work on this, we will work on it. He doesn't expect us to focus on this hour after hour after hour. He doesn't expect that. And in return, I'll give him a little price break. On to the next vehicle. The Jurassic Jeep is actually done. We've got a new transmission pan gasket on it. The four-wheel drive always worked. Hoovy thought that it didn't work, and it didn't when he bought it. But during car issues 1, we actually fixed the actuator that's up front. I looked into my records, and I went into the sand we have out here and tried it. The four-wheel drive works perfectly. I didn't even have to fix it. So, that's all he wanted. This thing's done. It's ready for Car Trek 6. It's going to be on Car Trek. So, on to the next. Here is the Alfa Romeo 164. No, Rich rebuild. It's not an Alfa Romero. It's Romeo. Thank you, Rich. All the seats are out of the car and at the upholstery or low-end upholstery shop here in Newton. That's who we use. We are going back together with everything on the engine. This customer is one of my favorite customers. He left us a list that it's one of those lists that you unroll it and it falls to the floor and it keeps going. But I have no complaints with that because I have zero issue with the customer paying. In fact, he left us thousands of dollars in advance to go ahead and work on it. We've made a lot of progress on it and we still have a ways to go. But we're getting there, guys. On to the next. This is not getting anything worked on. This is my 1938 Oldsmobile touring sedan. It's waiting for a buyer. You guys know it's for sale, $14,000. If you are interested in looking at this, contact Crazy D in the office. It is a running and driving car. The interior's done, it needs paint work. Mechanically, pretty much everything works. The Infiniti has actually sold. That one is going to be on its way out of the state, so that one's no longer for sale because it's going to be gone. If you're curious about this, remember, contact Crazy D. On to the next. This is a 320i that you guys have actually seen in the shop before. It's been sitting in the customer's warehouse or wherever he stores it. That's why it's a little bit dusty. It's here just for a few more small items to get repaired, and he's going to sell it. He's actually also the owner of the old red Nova that we're doing basically almost a restoration on it. But we're going to get those things taken care of, and then this car will be gone. It's really not a whole lot to really even speak of. It's not worth making a video. So that's why it's here. On to the next. This is Hoovie's project Porsche. He has the engine off being rebuilt, and it's actually in the process of being rebuilt. That's why it sits so high in the air, because the engine's out of it. This is a crazy project, but it is his car and his money, and we're happy to do the work for him. I probably wouldn't be interested in this project if it was for me personally, but again, no issues with doing it for him. So that's why it's here. It's waiting for the engine to come back. On to the next. So this is a no. You guys don't get to see any information about this one yet. We're actually going to be doing a full video on this with Bug Ninja. He loves these things. You guys love Bug Ninja. So if you want to know information about this really sweet Volkswagen, you're going to have to wait for the video and watch the whole video. Now, on to the next. And the Maserati is the next one in line. This one just has a headlight out. It has an issue with the dash. It was just a panel they wanted replaced real quick. They brought their own good used panel. We put it on, and it has an issue with the rear door sunshade. Let me show you guys real quick. So as you can see right here, there is a sunshade that goes slowly up, and it can block the sun, or it can go back down. This one goes most of the way up, and then it just shoots right back down real fast. There's an internal failure with the little sensors that are inside of it, and the only fix is a new sunshade. And by the time we pay for the sunshade and the few hours of labor, it's going to be over $1,000, $1,200, $1,300. The customer's like, I understand it's a Maserati, it's expensive, but it doesn't make sense to spend that kind of money just for a sunshade that goes up and down. And I said, you know what? I fully agree. I wouldn't fix it either. So, on to the next. This car just arrived not too long ago. This is Tom's 2012 Bentley Continental GT. It's here for quite a list of things. You guys saw recently a video we did on a Continental GT that we pulled the headliner down and had Lone Upholstery reaffix the original material. That's what we're going to be doing here, because you cannot acquire the Bentley material. You can't just go out and buy it. The last one that we did turned out beautiful. The customer was very happy. We'll do the same thing here, and he was curious about doing Alcantara, however you say it. But I think that we can just re-adhere the original fabric for much cheaper, and it will be stock. Everything will look beautiful just like it's supposed to. There's also a list of many other things, and we'll maybe do a video in the future. It just arrived, and we're just now getting started on it. On to the next. This is our collection of vintage American cars. The Firebird is back together. We've been waiting on parts. There was quite an extensive amount of work that was being done to this, and now it's pretty much done. We need to put the hood on and do some final adjustments, and this one will be done and ready to go. On the Nova, we just received the transmission. It was rebuilt, which is on a pallet over here, and also on this pallet is an engine that was rebuilt by Martin Machine in Wichita. They're ready to go back in, so we've been waiting for those parts. It's been a while to get those, to get the engine transmission back. So now it's time to start getting back onto the Nova. The Jeep is most of the way done. We are just doing some finalizing. There's a lot of little things we need to tidy up before we're done with it. One of the lines for the AC system that was sent to us, it was part of a kit. The line itself had a crack in it before we even installed it. Luckily, I took the line over to our parts store, CarQuest, here in town. They make hoses, hydraulic hoses, all kinds of hoses. They just put a new end on it. Done. I was like, hey, okay. So there's little things like that we're having to work through to get this thing finalized. We don't want to deliver it to the customer with cracked hoses. So we'll get that thing done as soon as we can. But I'd say 90% of it is done. It runs and dries. Everything else is ready to go. It's been a very long project with that one. On to the next. One more vintage car is the car that you guys have almost probably forgotten about, but we have not. It's the Jag V12 Chevelle. The engine and transmission are mounted and it's in, but I got a 308 and it's so much cooler. But we're not done with that. We're not going to give up. The project is not a failed project. It's still going to be finished. It's just taking a long time. Unlike other YouTubers who that's all they do is YouTube and they can do whatever they want all day long, Me and Mrs. Wizard own the shop. We have to pay employees. We have to keep customers happy. That takes priority, way high priority, over projects. So we like to do the projects when we can. There are times like right now where we're so swamped with work, the projects have to stop, guys. We have to get the work done.
Yeah, work on my 308. I want that done pretty fast.
Yes, that's why this is sitting here, because I know that the 308 is wanted to be done first.
That's right, my 308.
My 308.
No.
Apollo 911 is mostly all the way done. We upgraded to a baffled oil pan with trap doors inside of it so he doesn't go through a turn and lock the motor up again. We've done a few upgrades, a few updates, but it's a running, driving car again. Apollo 911 is alive, fully alive again, fully resurrected. We have a few odds and ends to tidy up on it and button it back up. And very soon you'll be seeing a Hoovy's Garage video where he receives his car back. And on the Diablo, you guys just saw in a recent video from Hoovy's Garage, if you watch Hoovy's Garage, if you don't, you really should. He picked up the Murcielago. We fixed a squeak. The alignment of the belt wasn't just dead perfect. It was off by the thickness of a washer. That's all it was. We changed the adjustments on that and got it dead on perfect, and squeak went away. This one, he had the AC quit on him. He has a moaning noise in the engine bay, and his fuel gauge is acting really weird. It seems like with the Lambos, the problems never end, which anyone who owns a Lamborghini, I doubt there's any out there that says, I haven't had a problem in 6 years. They always have problems. And on to the last one. Oh look, another Italian exotic car. I own an Italian exotic car and I've had 0 issues in 6 years, said no one ever. So this one also has issues. It has valve cover gasket leaks. It needed some recalibrating for some of the things on the dash. A bunch of lights came on and it just needed to be recalibrated. There's a few other small issues that, again, we're waiting on parts. They've been paid for, they're ordered, and we're just playing the waiting game, and as soon as they arrive, this one will be done and out the door. There's several cars in here that we could do a whole video on, but some of the cars, it just needs a couple small items and it'll be gone. It's really not worth doing an entire video, so today we did an update on all the cars in the shop. Some of them you've seen videos on already, and we're just giving an update on where we're at with those. There will be links to those videos in the description if you want to get caught up on them. Last night was crazy. It was out till 11 o'clock at night with Hoovy, filming for Car Issues 2. You guys are not going to want to miss out on that. It's in the works right now, and it's going to be a while before it's out. It's going to be out on Motor Trends. But when it comes out, it's going to be amazing. I can already tell it's going to be even that much better than Season 1. Car Trek 6 will also soon be filmed here in the shop. You guys don't want to miss on that either. Very cool videos being filmed in Omega Production Studio. Yes, guys, there's all kinds. I think there's more filming that goes on in here between Freddie from Tavares, Tyler, me, Crazy D in the office. It seems like somebody's always filming videos here, which is cool. How many shops do that? I don't know of any, other than this one. So if you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on all these cars we just showed you, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we got many more cool projects coming, cars coming, all kinds of things are happening here in the shop. You don't want to miss out on it. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Thanks for watching.